This one's going to be a little different than the ones we've done in the past. So, you who are here because you know me. This whole thing is new, and I just want to start with, I appreciate the shit out of the fact that you show up, you've left comments, and honestly, a lot of you kind of behind the scenes have cheered me on to do this and encouraged and all of that, and I appreciate it, and I just want to call it out because that's sort of, I don't want to say that's sort of why I do this. It's just, I don't know, community is a big thing for me, and you know that, and sharing all of this has been difficult. So the fact that you have showed up on the kind of backside of this to cheer me on, I really appreciate it. We're just riffing. I'm not doing any editing on this. I have this vision in my head of how these things should be. I've done the studying. I've watched the people. I know how I want it to be. But the reality is I can't execute it the way I want at the moment. I've been trying. We're going to get there, but in the meantime, I just need to get the stuff out because I said that this whole channel would be about where we're going and what we're doing and the kind of behind the scenes. And right now, the behind the scenes is the preparation for all of that. And thus, I need to pull back in one area such to get the ball moving, if you will. At least get moving consistently. This has been an idea for a very long time. It's sort of scary to get on here and do this. It's a little awkward, if you will. It's a little surreal because I've struggled with who am I talking to? Who's on the other side of this? Is it a younger version of me? Is it the people that I've traditionally talked to, right? The people from that conference or the technical community? Is it somebody new? What's the value prop in this? Why would you care? Show up, be here. Is it worth your time? And I get really spun out on all that. And a couple of years ago, TC went upside down and we were sort of navigating that and trying to figure out what was going on. And then there's unspecified and what we're sort of doing with that. And so when I hit record, me hitting record was we're at the bottom. So the only thing that I could do is possibly talk about the journey going up because we're fucking broken at the bottom of all the things. And wouldn't that be the part of the story is the come up story? Show you how I build the things and whatnot. And that was the point, and yet that's what I want to do, and I've been kind of caught in my own kind of creator's dilemma of, how I want it to feel and the music and all of that. So right now, we're just not going to do that. We're going to pump the words out and tell the story. So end of December, we make this decision that, we have to put TC on pause. The company's just, financially it's underwater. We have a loan that we have to pay. There's no revenue coming in. There are no plans to do another event. There's some legal obligations that we can or cannot do certain things that I don't need to get into. And we're sort of rising back up to build something. So that means who am I? Who am I to you? And this has been a struggle for me as to where do I fit? Why do people care about me? Why would you sit here and listen? Why are you there? And I know most of you who are on the other end of this camera, and I don't even know that I could predict why one of you may or may not be the person, or may or may not kind of be the follower or the whatever. And that's sort of a problem, right? If you're building a business or a service or a product, aka the things the business provides, you have to know who the persona is that you're kind of selling to, right? They're ultimately exchanging money for one's time, or money for one's product, which in turn is giving them time. And I've struggled with my value add in the grand scheme of things. I consider myself this multi-passionate individual who, I don't know, maybe has a little ADHD, interested in way too much stuff, good technically, speak well. There's a certain ability to draw people in. I'm not afraid to be vulnerable. I like to be creative. I like to work with my hands. I visually see things in my head. I started this coaching program. I really like working with people, and I think that was a big piece of that conference and everything that we do there, because it was about the people, it was about the environment, it was about the feeling, it was about the systems that made it all kind of come together. And I don't know that we ever really reached our pinnacle of like what we had to offer, and it wasn't for not trying, it just the fucking money didn't work. And the money didn't work because we somehow didn't get the value prop right in time after the pandemic and just whatever, burned it up. But I'm left here today going, I got to figure out where I'm going and what I'm doing. And it's been sort of all over the place. Do I productize some of the things that we've built in that conference to try to make money? I know how to do software. I know how to build a SaaS product. I know how to ship all that. Like, I know how to do that. But is that where my passion lies? Right? Like, do I want to wake up every day and do that thing? And I can't help but hear myself tell you when I was on stage at that conference, like, if you don't like what you're doing when you wake up, then go do something else. And man, I've been doing tech for 25 years. I think my passion is working with people. Not necessarily banging away on a keyboard every day. I think my passion lies in like helping people at scale, getting people together at scale. This coaching stuff that I've been doing has been wonderful. We've got about 10 people in, by far not enough to stand on its own in any way. But I think, or at least I hope, the feedback seems to say this, that the 10 folks who are there, they've gotten a lot of value out of it as well. And they're certainly learning on both ends, right? It's a new program, so I'm evolving and adapting how we do it, and I have a vision for how that would work. I have a vision for doing things like group coaching and some classes, and I was reminded the other day, I was thinking back to TC in the younger days, and I saw this problem. And the problem was that young men were not interested in speaking or being part of the family track. They weren't showing up. And I kept saying this, and this is at a time where we're trying to get women in tech, and we're always trying to get women in tech. And a lot of my time and emphasis went on that. But every year I would turn around and I would go to Carrie and I'd go to a few others. I'm like, something is going on because we cannot get the young men to get involved. And fast forward to today, and we have issues in society with men. Young men, older men, there's a sort of an epidemic going on. They're not the declining rates in college. We're losing things like shop and other things in high school that create this kind of broad exposure. Not enough male figures, not enough of the right male figures. Like, it can go on and on. And that has these implications on sort of like the young adolescent, going into adulthood, and then, the guy like myself who finds himself getting ready to be 50 and feels a little bit lost as to like, well, what are we doing? And, somewhere between the coaching that just started and all the things with TC over the years and this intersection of tech, I think has led me to a place where, the irony of the whole name of the coaching program, From Code to Clarity, I think the irony in that is maybe it's me finding my own clarity of like, maybe my role is somehow to create the program that works with men in tech or young adolescents who want to get in tech. And I don't have a clue what that really looks like. I know it looks like a book. I know it looks like speaking opportunities. I know it looks like group coaching and individualized coaching. And I can feel that there would be some tech system involved, like some community aspects, the daily community aspects that I always wanted that conference to have. Because I feel like accountability and the daily pieces are the things that we have always needed. Community has always been the thing for me. And maybe it's where TC went wrong. Like for me, it wasn't really about education. It was that kind of brought us together, but it was about the community. It was about the people. It was about the network opportunities that got created. It was just about the opportunities that created. And part of what's been just eating at me is what's my purpose? And what am I doing? What am I waking up every day doing? And sure, I'm doing some freelance work to make money and, it's arguably not enough. Well, it's not arguably, it's not enough. But I'm balancing this time of put money in the bank, build a new business. And it's hard to build a business if you don't know the persona and the why and your why and what you're passionate about. And, us having NTC was just it's been so hard. And nobody really talks about that. I mean, it's 15 years of my life, more if you talk about the time kind of building up to it. And it's just been hard. There's days I just sit here and I think, I don't know my value in society. I don't know, I can't see me like maybe you could. And I'm not saying this hey, pity party Clark or anything. That's not the point. I'm just being realistic about, we've had a big life event, which is this business is, in transition. We should be getting ready to announce speakers. That would have normally happened right now. And that's not happening. And that doesn't feel good. But then at the same token, I've thought about software products to build, and then I'm not drawn to it. And I've tried to pull myself in that direction. I'm like, yeah, I could do it, but I'm just not drawn to it. And then when I think about writing a book for men or writing a book for young adolescents, or, I don't know, men trying to get into tech or something around that, I get excited. I get excited about thinking about getting people together and helping one another and seeing that support. And I can't answer why. All I can say is that piece has become clear to me. Some of that clarity for me has been that that's part of who I am. And I'd like to think that I do pretty good at it. I like to think that I'm pretty good at kind of rallying a crowd and having a good time. I'd like to think that I'm pretty good at this coaching thing and getting folks to really look inward and be vulnerable and say, how are we going to do this? And I like to take some of the things that we've learned in tech and kind of apply that. How do you refactor your life and create sprints and legitimately be intentional to live a life that you want to live? How do you do that? Because none of us were fucking taught that. And I've spent 25 years trying to figure it out. And why not teach it? So anyways, like I said, raw, uncut. I'm not doing any editing on this. There's a series of things that I want to talk about and do, and I'm going to do them in this format and get them out and just not care and not worry about it. And I'd love for you to, if you like it, like this, like it. And I'm not saying that for an algorithm or whatnot. I just want the feedback that you, who are here, which is the person who's interacted with me the most, right? This channel is nothing that people are like, the algorithm gives a shit about. If you like this, then like it so that I have the feedback, or comment so we can have the conversation in there and talk about it more. I do have some bigger videos that I've been working on, one around sobriety and another around health and one around speaking. And those are things that I've been working on, and I ended up doing a bunch of research and because I wanted to get the kind of story right in that, and they're just not ready. When I publish that, I want to publish it with a certain feel. My health journey has been a pretty big deal. The last 2 months I've lost 30 pounds, and it's sort of simple. There's a lot of taboo around health. It doesn't need to be. I'm not saying that it's easy. I'm just saying that the framework is simple. All to say, if you're still here, man, I love you. Thank you. I do feel like I'm getting a bit of clarity in all this, and it's not that I'm not trying. I know that I said I would publish every week. I want to do that. I appreciate you keeping me accountable and saying the things. And I'm trying to get unblocked. And me just recording this and pushing that, I think is maybe a piece of this. So that's it. That's all I got. That's all I got for today. I still love this hoodie. It's one of my favorites. See you next time.